I was saying I loved America before it was popular to say. For a while, it was trending online that everything about America was negative. While no country is perfect, I just could not pretend my experience wasn't positive here. It was genuinely the best decision I've ever made in my entire life. Of course, it's going to be the 4th of July here in America, America's big 250th birthday, and I live here for it. As a permanent resident of the country that I dreamed of living in, and I'm so happy we worked so hard to get it, because I am having the best time of my life.
A lot of Brits won't admit it, but we are obsessed with the US, like deeply obsessed. They mock it constantly that they know everything about it. We know all the states, we know all the fast food chains, we know all the music, everything. I love the Brits who are constantly like, oh, America's gone downhill, and then they will spend about 4 hours watching New York apartment tours on YouTube. A lot of Brits love an excuse to act morally superior. But, ooh, the US, I could never live there. Meanwhile, they're like Googling Miami condos in the background.
Weeks ago, a lot of British tourists boarded flights to America bracing for the worst. Crime, rudeness, a country that, from a distance, felt more like a risk to manage than a place to actually enjoy. Now, as their trips wind down, plenty of those same tourists are posting something nobody expected. Not relief that the trip is over, dread that it is. This is the story of how an entire wave of visitors went from dreading America to not wanting to leave it. British fans arrived at this World Cup carrying a specific picture of America built up over years of headlines back home. A colder, less friendly culture. A country better known, in the British imagination, for its problems than for its people. Some had genuine, specific worries, shaped by crime stories and tense border crossing accounts they'd read online. Most weren't dreading the trip exactly, but plenty weren't expecting to fall for the country either. They packed the way a lot of European visitors did this summer, bracing more than hoping. It started small. Bread arriving at a table nobody ordered, free, with more offered without a second thought. Soda refills that never seemed to stop coming, no extra charge, no hesitation from the staff bringing them. Small on their own, but for visitor after visitor, these were the first cracks in a picture that had taken years to build. The first sign that something about this trip wasn't matching the version of America they'd packed for. Then came moments harder to write off as one-off luck. Strangers striking up conversations for no reason. Staff treating visitors like more than just customers passing through. At stadiums in Texas and beyond, British fans found themselves surrounded by a kind of hospitality that felt personal rather than rehearsed. It kept repeating, city after city, match after match, until it stopped looking like coincidence and started looking like a genuine pattern. Grocery runs turned into their own kind of attraction, with visitors filming aisles that seemed to stretch on forever, stunned by the sheer range of everyday products stacked on a single set of shelves. Before we get to the exact moment this trend shifted from surprise to genuine reluctance to leave, if you're enjoying this, go ahead and subscribe, because we're tracking every viral World Cup reaction all the way through the final. Drop a comment and guess, what do you think finally made these tourists want to stay? Let's find out together. Somewhere along the way, a phrase started showing up across dozens of posts from British visitors. That America owed them nothing, but that they owed America an apology, because the country was nothing like what the media back home had led them to believe. Visitors described everyone they met as friendly and accommodating, some admitting they'd had some of the best trips of their lives. One traveler, close to flying home, brought up an old English football song about not wanting to leave, about wanting to stay and enjoy himself rather than go back to the daily grind, saying he'd never related to it more than he did right now. For a lot of these tourists, the shift became obvious the moment their return flights actually started to feel like a countdown, rather than something to look forward to. Some pushed back their departures to catch just one more match, one more city, one more stop that hadn't been on the original plan. Others simply admitted, on camera, that packing to leave felt worse than they expected, a strange thing to say about a country most of them had arrived treating as an obligation rather than a destination. A noticeable number of visitors ended up changing their plans entirely, choosing to stay longer once they realized how much of the country they still wanted to see. Some extended their stays specifically to catch American holiday celebrations they'd never experienced firsthand, treating an extra week or two as an easy decision rather than a difficult one. For visitors who had planned this trip purely around football, watching themselves willingly add extra days just to keep experiencing ordinary American life said something neither they nor their friends back home fully expected going in. None of this means Britain's original picture of America came from nowhere, or that every concern these visitors carried was invented. But it does say something about how a narrative, repeated enough times, can start to feel like settled fact, right up until enough people actually go and check it for themselves. None of these tourists needed an argument to change their minds. They needed free bread, a bottomless soda, a few strangers willing to talk to them, and enough of those moments stacked together to outweigh years of secondhand certainty. It's worth asking how so many visitors ended up carrying the same low expectations in the first place, especially when so many of them clearly left feeling the opposite. Part of it comes down to what travels fastest online. A dramatic headline about crime or division reaches far more people, far faster, than an ordinary story about a friendly stranger or a stadium full of warmth. Over years, that imbalance adds up, until an entire country's mental picture of another country gets built almost entirely out of its worst 5%, mistaken for the whole truth. That is exactly the gap this tournament exposed, one viral clip and one extended stay at a time. By the time these tourists actually do board their flights home, plenty of them will be carrying a very different story about America than the one they landed with. Some will go home a little wiser. Some will already be looking up flights back. If this trend has been catching your eye too, subscribe, because we're tracking every one of these reactions all the way through the final. Drop a comment and tell me, do you think you'd have wanted to stay too? See you in the next one.